Hi everyone from Landhaus Ettenbühl, actually a very, very busy Landhaus Ettenbühl, right?
It is, but the weather is perfect for it.
It's so much fun and we're going to show you what's going on at the moment here.
Yeah.
And just to begin with, put your questions down there in the box because we can answer all your questions in the next videos, because we have planned to do a lot of videos in the next couple of months,
Absolutely.
weeks and months, because there's of course so much going on. You see it here behind us, the whole team is working and it's just so much fun. So John, we are here in the lavender garden.
Yeah.
We made a video before out here, out of the lavender garden on the English channel, so you can have a look at the previous video about here. So it has grown quite a lot. At the time we put in the rambling roses here at the pillars.
Yeah.
So tell us about that project and how old they are, and you know the way we kind of like present them here. What's the idea?
Yeah, it's fascinating because about 20 plus years ago, there used to be some zephyr and drier growing here.
That's true, I remember. Yeah.
And the thing about zephyr and drier is it's a lovely climber on a wall, but when you put it on a pillar, it just actually makes a fat shrub. It doesn't climb, doesn't do anything. So we decided to take them out, and in those days we didn't have root grow. And so we had to use this awful sort of phenol stuff for
nasty.
cleaning up horse stalls and things. And so we sterilized the ground, which is an awful thing to do. And then we put in some ramblers. And after about 10 years, it was decided that they weren't really very good. So some other ramblers were put in. And we felt that we could actually do better. And using a variety of repeat flowering rambler called brood bell.
Yeah, which is one of your varieties.
Exactly.
You bred in the like sort of mid-90s, something
yes, that's
like that.
right,
Is that correct? Okay. So let me just repeat that. So for places like this, on a pillar, on an obelisk, on like, you know, slim, narrow places, you would always prefer a rambling rose rather than a climbing rose, which is kind of like not performing that well.
Exactly, and the other problem with a climbing rose is that it wants to send its stems up and flower up there, and we want to get the stems pliable so that they'll grow along.
Okay. So what's the color here, the color scheme in this garden? Well, lavender garden, of course, lavender is like lavender color.
Quite. And so brood bell's got this very vibrant sort of dark pink, almost red color. And it contrasts beautifully with the grey foliage, and also wonderfully, of course, when they're in flower.
Yes, of course. And all around we have a lot of foxgloves, delphiniums, thank you. And further on in the summer, phlox and monardas and all these kinds of, so it's all this kind of lilac-y, pink,
purplish,
purple.
blue against the grey. And then the other joy, of course, are the weeping pears.
Yeah.
Because they've got this lovely grey foliage. And it always amuses me. Well, so many visitors come and say, "Oh, look, olive trees."
Yes, that's a really good trick. You know, olive trees, of course, would not be winter hardy here with us.
Well, I don't know this winter.
Well, okay, yeah, things that. Well, yeah, the winter was mild, but we still have these really very hard, nasty frosts. You know, so that would actually
in April condition them up. Yeah.
So, anyways, but this was a good choice. You know, as a kind of like olive-looking substitute, and people get really sort of sidetracked with it. That's really funny. But of course we tell them what it is, because a lot of them also want to have them. Pyrus salicifolia it is. Exactly. So lovely garden in the season. We have this wonderful rose tunnel over there. Yeah. But in the tunnel, in that rose tunnel, you're also working with climbing roses, I think, you know.
Those are classical climbing roses, because that sort of a structure lends itself to that sort of style of rose and that sort of work. But it's it's the old story. If you get the right rose in the right place, it does very well.
Well, and of course you have a lot of space there. You can spread them out,
Exactly.
which you cannot do here. You can only spread them out up there on their swags. But here on the tunnel, you of course have all the space to really get them nicely trimmed and pruned and.
Yes, and indeed we've used quite a lot of clematis in there as well.
Which always helps, right?
Yes.
Well, clematis is always wonderful. We love the clematis hybrids, the clematis viticellas,
Taxodiums.
Texensis people, they are very nice. So yeah, they are always good to kind of like cover up a little bit,
yes,
you know,
yes.
so, and get that romantic feel in there. So that is really very, very helpful. And by the way, pruning clematis down. So you have a wonderful, there's all this matter of different pruning classes, group 1, 2, 3, whatever. You never know what you have, which group. So what's your tip regarding that?
Well, what it boils down to is that one group flowers on the old wood and the next group flowers on the new wood.
Yeah.
So if you've lost the label and you don't know what group it is, the answer is cut it off at waist height.
Okay.
Leave in the new wood and the old wood, and you can't go wrong.
Ah, that's a good one. So got that. So just if you don't know what your clematis is, waist height, elbow height, something like that, and you cannot go wrong.
But you have to leave in the new and the old wood together.
Yeah. So the new wood, what about the alpinas and the montanas, the really huge ones? Would you also like prune them back like that, or is that a different story?
The trick with those things is you prune them after flowering.
Okay.
So if they flower in the spring,
Yeah.
you prune them after flowering.
Okay.
And if they flower in the autumn, like the montanas do, well, not autumn, but late summer, then you prune them after flowering.
But do you also prune them that hard? Or do you just let them go and say, well, you know, conquer that house?
Well, this is it. It depends on where you've planted it and why you've planted it.
Yeah.
If the position is restricted, then you have to restrict the plant.
Okay.
But-
and otherwise you can just look.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you know, for montanas, it's August, September pruning.
Okay. So cool. I just wanted to mention these swags. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it has a little French feeling, hasn't it?
Oh yes, this is entirely so, and the French are brilliant at it. And
also
sometimes the swag actually comes right the way down to the ground and goes up again.
Yeah.
And they used the Barbier Ramblers.
Yes. Which are so lovely.
Yes, but they're so big, you see. So, I mean, here, for example, you would actually want the swag down to the ground and up again, and you just plant one Barbier Rambler in the middle. But we wanted to do something a little bit different, and so therefore we used a plant that's less vigorous, but is repeat flowering.
But I also think if we had them like down like that, classic, they would kind of collide with the delphiniums and other stuff, wouldn't it? Or is it?
Oh yes, I mean, you know, if you're going to do the swags in that style, you've got to have plenty of room, and
right. It's a much bigger scale than here, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Barbier Ramblers, the ones we really do love are, for example, Leontine Gervais, one of our all-time favorites, right?
Paul Trample.
Paul Transon.
Yeah.
Alberic Barbier, obviously.
Yeah.
And we should actually do a little special on Barbier Rambler one day. We have, you know, plenty of them here in the gardens because the foliage is so attractive.
Exactly.
And of course the flowers, they have a very nice scent. And Mr. Barbier is also quite an interesting guy, isn't he?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and we really pioneered a completely different approach towards rambling roses, and produced some absolutely wonderful plants.
And what makes them special is that they like the sideways growing, right?
Or even the cascading downwards.
Tumbling down.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So we're going to work on that one for you guys and give you some more information about that at another point in time. So again, the swags, we put our whatever material, what do you call it? Sacking stuff around it, because underneath it's just chains, right?
Well, they're either too hot or too cold.
Yes.
And the other thing is the roses then grow through the links and then eventually strangle themselves.
Yeah.
And because they've grown through the links, you can't sort of take them out and put them where you want them.
Yeah.
But I think it's also much more organic than looking at sort of industrial chains.
Of course. And chains is very important because they are pretty heavy, so they hang, right? So they don't get compromised.
Yeah, if you just had ropes and you tied the roses round, they'd distort and sort of you'd lose the idea.
So we are very, very much looking forward to everything growing in here. You see all these nice little islands of herbaceous plants and all sorts of plants in here. Let's just finish up for today with that material which we put out here on the beds already. Some of them, for some of you guys out there, you know that already because even, you know, especially if you watch the videos on our German channel, which you can actually do even if you're not German speaking, you know, there's this opportunity down there with that little wheel somewhere, I don't know, you can put it into English so that you can also follow our German videos if you want to do that. But now back, this is called what we call in German Gartenfaser or Rosenmulch. It's a mulch. And why do we use that here so extensively?
Well, the trick is that if you put this on, the moisture in the soil will come up underneath it. If we get any spring rains, which we don't at the moment want, it will go through. And then underneath there, you will have a marvelously sort of moist atmosphere, which is perfect for the air-breathing bacteria.
So it's a completely different thing than normal bark mulch, right?
Oh yes, totally different. And this is already composted, so it's a perfect medium for the bacteria. But the great trick about it is, if we get a very hot summer, there is no need for us to worry about the soil cracking, getting open. There's no desperate need. Oh, morning, Mr. B. There's no desperate need to water.
Yeah.
And this is our big anxiety, that the state may turn around and say, sorry chaps, no more water.
No water, right. So we keep our plants anyways very, very, we're not very generous with water here in the gardens.
No, because plants naturally go down to look for the water.
Exactly.
And if you are spending all your time watering, the roots come to the surface and they get to be water junkies. And they can't find it for themselves. And this is part of the idea that by doing this, we are going to protect ourselves from the summer.
And there are two more really nice reasons, actually. You know, the weeds are not coming through that easily, you know.
Quite.
And the most wonderful thing is slugs. They hate that stuff, you know. They don't really like to. They can't slime their way through it so easily, you know. They don't like it.
It sort of sticks to them.
Well, this is actually pretty nice protection also for your delphiniums, you know, which are one of their favorites, right?
Yeah,
and so that is also very good. Okay, cool. So guys, we've got to go back to work, which is actually no work. It's just fun these days.
Well,
joy, you know.
In this weather, it's perfection.
It's so much fun. And I'm going to join our team doing all sorts of things. We are pruning the roses everywhere. We are pruning the hydrangeas, Annabelles everywhere. We have been pruning our wisteria already. We are dealing, of course, with all the old leaves that came down over the winter. And I don't know what, you know, pruning our rose hedges and all these kinds of things. So we keep you posted. We come out maybe not with long videos all the time like this, but we're gonna post you whatever comes up here. And please subscribe, like if you liked it, of course, and put your questions down there in the box.
We like questions.
Yes, we love it. Okay, so have a great time in your garden, and thank you, John.
Thank you indeed,
See you next
Stefanie.
time. Bye-bye.
Bye.